So if you are looking into and domain infrastructure, you will have this kind of options here where we'll have many way to access Active Directory information. So if you are looking into this one, ADDS, just need to right click here, and then after you will have option to access, Active Directory users and computer from here. Also the same thing, you can also have into this one, the tool menu. Here you can access all of the things. So either we need to follow from tool menu, or we just need to, right click into uh, server name, and then after we'll have option, but we just need to know which option actually what kind of stuff we need to manage. So if you are looking into, manage user computer and other stuff, here we'll have Active Directory domain and user domain, Active Directory users and computer. The same thing we can also have from, shortcut. So if you guys know this one, it's good. If you doesn't, you can download this one, dsa.msc. So dsa.msc is the shortcut key to access Active Directory users and computer. Then we'll have also another option, DSAC, which is referred to Active Directory Administrative Center, where from we will also, we'll have option to manage domain object such as users computer and other stuff too. So either we'll need to, access Active Directory Administrative Center or Active Directory users and computer. So if you are trying to access, Active Directory users and computer, you have to put dsa.msc command into run. If you are looking to access, Active Directory Administrative Center, at that you just change this one to DSAC, and it will open control administrative center. So from here you can see, entire infrastructure of your domain controller. You'll have also, varieties of options here. If you are looking into user, you can find, all of the users into our default repository, which is also known as a repository or container. Okay, so it's a default container. If you are looking into, directory images and dsa.msc. So here, you can very easily, you can identify which one is known as. Here you can see built-in computer, foreign security, managed service account, and users. These are known as a repository or default container of an Active Directory. And this one, Sydney, MyLab, domain controller, these are known as organizational unit. So here we'll have option to create new organizational unit. You just right click into your domain name, and then after from new, we'll have option to create organizational unit, but there are no option to, create any container here. So there are no option to create a container because this is the default, which we are not able to create or, delete, or we don't have any control over the container. But if you are looking into this one, the organizational unit, we'll have option to create an organizational unit. We have option to maintain, manage. We can also have option to, assign permissions, delegation control, group policies, all are available into an organizational unit. And here you can also see, we'll have varieties of, subfolders, or we could say sub organizational unit, where we'll manage, users group, it's a totally, it's a kind of, managing a specific kind of object into it. So this is how actually we're gonna to manage all of the objects through organizational unit. And also we'll have option to assign permissions and control, also control, entire um, organizational unit, that which one or which user can gonna to get or create some other stuff or some other object into that specific area of domain controller, which is also known as delegation control. So if you just right click into it, you will have option to delegate control. So delegate control means it's a special part or a special kind of permissions which will provide or which will assign to a specific user to perform some specific task into that specific area of domain control, which is known as delegate control.
Hello, brother.
Yeah,
So on this one, my lab is an organization unit, right?
no,
My
my lab here. Please wait. Yeah, here. Yeah, my lab
yeah,
is an
and
organization.
inside my lab, the account is another organization unit, right?
Yeah, it's a sub organizational unit.
And inside that, that's the users, right?
Yeah, some of
Okay,
users and groups are there.
okay.
So how actually will gonna to identify users and group? If you'll see single-headed symbol, which means user, double-headed icon, which means group, a folder over a small booklet, which is known as an organizational unit. And also, you can just right click into a specific area. Then after you'll have option to create this kind of Active Directory objects. And if you are looking into top of this one here the menu bar. So we'll also have here, just need to create user. You don't need to just go through that specific area. What we'll do, we just click over there, and it will automatically uh, allow us or ask us to create new user information. They ask to enter user information into that form template. If you are looking for create a group, you just need to click here. Then after it will show you uh, group information, and there are other permissions and other things are there. So here you can see if you are looking for creating a new group, which means they are asking for group name, uh, name, uh, group name, and their group scope and group type. So group scope is also defines some level of access control or access level of big infrastructure of a domain controller. So I'll define this one also. And here kind of group type. So if you are looking for security or distribution, so especially distribution group, this one, uh, though they doesn't have ACL control to that group or member of that group. So if you are dealing with distribution group, which means will only have option to send or receive email. So this is totally depends upon the email services. So distribution group are especially used for the email services, where if you are looking for security kind of group, which means they have both options. That means whoever a member of that security group, that user have option to send receive email information, as well as they have ACL control, which means they can access some of share resources from your domain infrastructure. But while we are dealing with distribution, which means they don't have permission to access any share resources from entire domain infrastructure. So this is the major difference in between security and distribution group. Here, group scope, which means they will categorize or define, or it's a design for accessing area of infrastructure, where they will only have option to for a specific task to perform there. So if you are looking for domain local, which means like a local group or local, yeah, it's a local group. So if a user be a member of a domain local group, which means they have full control to access the local computer or local domain control. If someone who belongs to global group means it's a um, that user, who have member of this global group, they can gonna to access their information from whole domain tree area. Yeah,
Hello, brother.
yeah,
Can we say that the Glover member can access the account from different site as well, different site
yeah,
location,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
domain local can only access within that hardware, right? Within
yeah,
that, is
yeah,
it?
yeah, within that, yeah.
Okay.
So this is the major difference in between, domain, global, and the next one is the universal. So universal is especially used for, forest kind of area, forest kind of concept is there. So basically, universal groups are performing their services or accessing their services or resources into, forest kind of, if we are looking for trust level of, different company, then there is, some level of access control are also existed, uh, who have, who belongs to a universal group. That user only have option to, access cross forest or cross domain, or any other trusted domain resources they will gonna to access by being a member of universal group. And also universal group are very popular for exchange server, database server, and other application servers too. So this is how, why, and how actually, Microsoft, they will automatically, manage this one global. By default it's a global, and by default it's a security. So if you are just, just you don't have any idea about, the group scope or type, it will automatically, they are by default they are selecting, from here group scope global, and group type is the security. Why like this? Because if a user, or if a technical person, let's suppose they don't have enough knowledge about this thing, they can also gonna to manage Active Directory. That's why this is the main benefit of, Active Directory. Now, so let me get back to the. So now I hope you guys are clear with this, right? OU and container.
Yes, brother.
So here you can see, OU allow you to subdivide the domain from management purpose. See, and the next thing is OU are used for delegation control and application of GPO. GPO means group policy object. The same here. We'll have some level of, in structure while we are dealing with organizational unit. So what kind of organizational unit, how much level of, depth we can manage this thing. So here's some of, example actually how we'll deal with the structure of an organizational unit. So it says that it's a flat one, two level of deep, or here it can also, deep more than 5 level of deep, So in an organizational unit, we can gonna to manage up to maximum 5 level of deep. 5 level of deep means uh, like a tree structure, we can manage up to 5 level of deep through an organizational unit. But it would be, very good that we just need to, manage 2 or 3 inside the main organizational unit. That would be, very easiest to manage, and also it's very easiest to, identify objects existed into that specific organizational unit. But if somehow, if someone they are looking into, up to more than this, though can go now up to 5 level of team. So it depends, totally depends upon your infrastructure, what kind of company you are belonging to, what kind of infrastructure actually they existed, they have, you know. So it's how many of users or how much user actually they are looking to organize into that through that domain controller. So it totally depends this structure to their infrastructure, their entire infrastructure. Now domain controller. So yeah, here domain controller is a simple a computer, a server, uh, where we'll actually install Active Directory databases. So here you can see it also stored all of the users credential into it, their databases. Here you can see ntds.dit and sysball. So we're gonna explain this one. What is sysball? Do you guys have any idea about this one? Sysball, because we already talk about this one, entities.dat. Sysball. Guys, do you have any idea about it?
System volume? No.
Yeah, it's system volume, but what actually existed into that sysball folder? What kind of things? What kind of files or objects exactly existed into a sysball folder? No idea.
No idea, brother.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, here sysball is a um, you guys know constitution of a country.
Yes.
Yeah, so what actually constitution denoted for our country or represented for our country?
You mean the what is constitution, or you mean
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's like a protocol that people should follow and the government should follow, all the offices should follow some kind of rules or some kind of system the
yeah,
country should run into.
yeah. So all of the country they need to survive, or they should define some of rules and regulation for their uh, what is called their people, their government.
Yes.
So so this is the same thing here. If you are dealing with Active Directory, whole entire Active Directory policies are stored inside sysball folder. So sysball folder is also by default, it's a shared to entire domain infrastructure, and all of the policies and protocols are uh, residing into this folder sysball. So basically,
Like if we create any group policy, that means it resides under sys volume.
yeah, yeah, yes, yes, brother. So it's same like constitution. Constitution are shared through their entire country member. So they should have permission to know their constitution. They should know, and they have authority to access or authority to see their rules and protocols for their entire country. This is the same here. Sysball. Sysball is a domain controller constitution folder where all of the provisions, policies, all of the GPUs are registered into it. So if you are looking into your sysball folder, I'm going to show you. Let me show you this one. Yeah, here. So, mm, so here you just need to access group policy GPU mc.msc. This is the shortcut command to access Active Directory group policy. Now here you can see we'll have default two group policy automatically generated while we are installing Active Directory domain services into any infrastructure, which is uh, default domain policy, and the other one is default domain controller policy. This one. So these two policies default domain policies and default domain control policies are automatically generated by Active Directory, and they have some of rules and regulations also, by default written into it. Let me show this one first. Default domain policy. Here, you can go through this one. Under settings, here, if you expand these settings, so all. Now, here you can see domain name, honor, created date, modified date, user revisions, computer revisions, unique ID for your domain controller. So this is also known as GUID, group policy status, and then after here you can see lots of policies for here you can see computer contribution are enabled, and your account policies are also there. So inside account policy you can see this thing, info password history. It's a 24 password. Remember, maximum minimum age of password, length of password, and other properties of password. Then you'll have also, option for categories policy, network policy, security policy, certificate policies. So these kind of stuff, it's automatically implemented and generated by Active Directory. It's a very, basic thing that we should know. So let me explain one by one this one. Enforce password history. It's saying that it's 24 password. Remember, what does it mean? It means if you just created a user into domain infrastructure and you need to set password for that user. So which means if you set a password for a user, that user don't have permission to repeat the same password until and unless they won't reach up to 24 new unique password, which means you are not being able to assign repeated same kind of password, not same kind of, same password until and unless you didn't reach up to 24 unique new password. So this is the default one. The next one is the maximum password age. Maximum password age is by default 42 days, which means if I set a password for a user, that password remain same up to 42 days. So if a user, they want to try to change their password, there is no problem. But if let's suppose a user, they never change their password, and that day, let's suppose it's reach up to 42 days, that means after completion of 42 days, on the 43rd day, they never allow that user to log in using their same old previous password, which means they are forcefully uh, compel that user to change their password. So this is the maximum password age, because after 42 days, same password are not, um, you know, not allowed to, use the same password after reaching 42 days. But a user can change, because here minimum password age is 1 day. That means a user can change their password at any time. There are no, limitation to changing a user password. But if a user, they didn't change their password after 42 days, which means user automatically compels that user to change their password. After changing their password, they will only gonna to get into domain infrastructure or allowed to log in through any domain computer. The next one is the minimum password length. It's a 7 character, which means at least while we are setting a password for a user, this is the default policy, which is we need to add, we need to, define a password which has at least 7 characters. But the other stuff is here. It's saying that password must meet complexity requirement, which means 7 digit is compulsory, and also that 7 digit having, complex password requirement, complex, which is also referred to as a capital and a small letter, as well as some of symbol combination and number combination two into the same password. That's why 7 is the minimum character, but that 7 characters should be combination of, all of the keyboard symbols, capital, smalls, some of a special character, number. Then after only they will gonna accept that password. The next one is the store password using reversible encryption. This is by default disabled. But what does it mean? It means if a user try to log on through, web portal, because nowadays Active Directory is also accessible from web portal, which means it's not, allow a user to save their password into any kind of, browser application or browser tool. But most of the cases while we are using, accessing websites, accessing, some of websites, they are also while we are, while we are accessing a website, they will automatically save our username and password. Which means if someone they are trying to log on through web version or web portal, access through Active Directory. So in this case, Active Directory, they are not allow them, such kind of browser, so that they cannot be able to, save our password into, that specific applications. So this is default. That means they are not easily gonna to allow any user to save their password through the browser. So this is called reversible encryption. Now the next one is it's not defined it, but what does it mean? Account lockout threshold. It's a zero invalid login attempt, which means this is same like our credit card, or we could say what is this ATM card. So if you are trying to, use ATM card to, so to doing some of transactional thing or some other stuff, So if you are looking and if you are trying to, fill the right password, but in any circumstances or in any situation, if let's suppose you forget your real password for your ATM card at that moment, they will give us a chance, 2 or 3 chance to remember and put the right password to access or to perform your transactional kind of stuff. But if you will fail your, if you will, fail to assign correct password for um, to accessing that the same scenario, it will automatically gonna lock your account or lock your ID, we could say this one, ATM card. So it might be, by the cause of, some of vulnerabilities are also there. So if you lose your ATM card, or if someone they know your ATM number or ATM password, or they, let's suppose they are just, guessing your ATM password at that moment, they have chance to, um, fill the ATM, password up to 2, 3, or 5 times maximum. Then after automatically ATM gonna to block your ATM card. So then after you will have to meet the administrative IT person. Then only you will gonna to get a new password and you will have access to, do transaction or anything, or your ATM card will be, accessible once again to perform their task. So this is the same here in the Active Directory. If some user, or if I know your uh, ID or your login information, but I don't have, fully confident, or I never know your password, but even I am trying to log on through your username at that moment, they will give us, some chances to provide correct password. But if I am unable to provide correct password at that moment, automatically Active Directory gonna to block that user. So after that, they don't have, uh, you know, they don't have permission to assign password, or they don't have permission to log on through that PC, or through by using the same user ID into domain infrastructure. Hopefully this will be clear to you guys.
Yes, brother, clear.
Yeah. So here, Kerberos policy. So actually, Kerberos policy is used for, network identity, or whenever we are using, or we are trying to access remote computer, or remote services, or remote databases. At that moment, Kerberos is there, and they will control our ticket system, uh, restrictions kind of things, enforce user logon restrictions are there, lifetime service ticket are there, maximum and minimum, ticket renewal time synchronizations are there. So this is by Kerberos policy, which will also gonna to control remote user or remote devices while we are accessing or gain access to that devices. So this is same like, uh, border side police, or border side, army people. uh, Even you can relate like this, while we are traveling from one country to another country, and let's suppose we don't have, proper visa, proper ticket, and all of legal document. Actually, whatever that country required, if any of, loopholes they found from your found from you or traveler, they are not allow them to travel. This is the same here, Kerberos policy, which will control users, devices, their access permission policies, or any kind of services they are requesting from the server. So if Kerberos policy, they are not satisfied by that user, by that device, they are not going to allow that services to that user or that devices. So this is the same here. If you are looking into, default domain controller policy, here you can see who will gonna access this system, who have permission to log on into that PC or into that server. So here you can see allow log on locally. So only these users are allowed to log on into domain controller locally. So if you are a member of, enterprise domain controller, or printer operator, server operator, account operator, backup operator, administrators, then you will only have access, or allowed to log on locally into any domain controller PC especially. So and also there are lots of, but I'm not going to, define or describe all of the stuff here. So you guys also, you can, if you are interested, let's go and get into this all of the stuff one by one. I hope you guys also have, very nice knowledge about this thing. The next one is the LDAP. It's a lightweight directory protocol, which will use into Active Directory domain controller. So before, there was no way to create multiple databases into a domain controller, but nowadays, by the use of, LDAP, lightweight directory protocols, we'll have option to create multiple Active Directory databases into the same domain controller computer. But it's very rarely used, because it's only used for, SQL, Oracle kind of, database applications, where we'll have option to, control that database through Active Directory. at that moment only it will be used, So here we'll have, lots of policies that are automatically generated while we are installing Active Directory database into any environment. Hopefully, you should know this constitution of domain controller. So here you can also find this one, unique ID. It's at the end. I'm just comparing this one from sysbol, because before we talk about the sysbol, here my lab policies. Here you can see lots of policies are there, where we just need to identify the policy identity number. Here you can see here we'll have 845 sorry F9 8489. Let's have a look into that one. Yeah, 8489. This is the default domain control policy, the gpt.ini. By the way, group policy extension is .ini. INI also extension of hardware drivers files. So here you can also see gpt.ini, so which means also denoted to the group policy. So this is the location, you can also find the same location from your C drive locally under Windows. Here you can see NTDS. Let's get back to the this one. Yeah, sysbol. Yeah, this one. Yeah, here you will have option, the same one. You can find your all of the policies and their information into it. So it depends number of policies, how much number of policy you have created or registered into domain infrastructure. This ID here, you need to identify yourself. So here I have lots of policies. So each policy, they have their unique identity number, and only will have option to know their details information from the settings. So what kind of permissions or policies are actually made into that policy. Here you can see credited to control panel PC settings here. So through this policy, it will gonna to control, or it's not going to allow you to access control panel into any computer where we'll deploy this policy. Also, there are, Chrome installation. As I said, we'll have option to install some of the application through group policy. So by cause of this policy, we'll have option to, install automatically Chrome into their infrastructure or into their client computer directly. So the user, they
Excuse me,
doesn't,
brother.
yeah.
Like this is the default policy, right? That's the default policy.
Which
But
which one?
yeah,
Which one? This one,
this
Chrome
m-
install.
no, the ones you were saying before, like
Yeah,
default domain control policy and default domain policy,
yeah,
it's already given by the system, right?
yeah.
So in this policy, can we add this policy to our user that we have created, like the any of the user you have created inside the MyLab? Can we add any of the group to that policy, like?
This policy,
Yeah.
actually, this policy is already deployed to your entire domain infrastructure. So we don't need to
Okay.
additionally assign the same policy to your any specific organizational
Okay.
unit or group
Okay.
or someone.
So any of the user, any of the group we created, that is already been deployed, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we need not to, redeploy the same policy to any others.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay. Okay.
it's a kind of default constitution. So
I got it.
if you are not going to for the specific position,
Yeah.
there are the same policy available as a normal people.
Okay. Okay, brother.
So these are the policy. These are the constitution of domain controller. Let's get back to the Yeah. So yeah, the other one here, let me show this one also, NTDS.dit. So here, under C drive, Windows will have NTDS folder. Yeah, here NTDS folder. Inside NTDS, we'll have here NTDS.dit. So this is the main database which is created by Active Directory. So if someone penetrated this one or compromised this database, they will supposed to have all of the access control things and everything. There are no one gonna to protect that person, or they have entire control through your domain control. So this is the major one, entities that here we'll also have some of logs and other. Here we'll have ADP, temp ADP and ADP check. So it's a database help files actually while we are accessing or doing any new stuff or creating any users or joining a client computer to the domain controller. Their transactional information are checked, or somehow if power failure or something happened to this, the changes will automatically save into temp database. So then after they will consolidate and uh, confirm that data or confirm that information into their or sync that changes into their main or master database copy. The change is gonna made into master database copy. So after that, so these are the things we should also know while we are using Active Directory database. So this is the default location. By the way, we'll also have option to change or relocate this database directory from C drive to any other drives or any other locations too. It's a very crucial and critical thing. So before relocating or before changing this one, be aware that if something happened or if you are not able to complete that task, your Active Directory will gonna to crash itself. So be aware about this. Let's get back to this one. Yeah, so hopefully this will be clear to you, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. FSMO, FSMO. So it's a flexible single master role, master operation role. This is the core things, or we could say it's a heart of any Active Directory databases. And this FSMO is divided into two parts: forest and domain. So inside forest, they are maintaining domain naming master and schema master. So domain naming master means uh, it won't allow same name or name duplication while we are dealing with defining domain name into any system. Schema master is a totally escalator, that means the structure of a database. So these two FSMO roles existed into forest function level, which is also known as FFL, forest function level, and the next one is the domain or DFL, domain function level. So inside domain function level, we will have RID, relational identity master, infrastructure master, as well as primary domain controller, emulator master. So these five roles existed into any domain infrastructure, which will control entire Active Directory databases, their rules, their regulations, all of their users, permissions, and everything. They are related through these five roles only. So we should know these things. So if someone they are trying to create duplicate name for the same domain, they are not gonna to allow them to create the same name. So let's suppose here, if you are talking about Microsoft, MSN, or Google, or Facebook. So as we know, Facebook already existed and available publicly to everyone. If someone they are trying to create same facebook.com, or they are trying to register with the same name, they are not gonna to allow them because this is already existed. So This is the same thing happening. This is the same thing happen to your local infrastructure. So if you will have same network, if you will have same server and try to create multiple domain controller with the same name, they are not supposed to allow you to keep the same name or duplicate the same domain name with the other domain controller. Yes, there are options. There are also um, will have option to create with the same name as a part of the primary domain, but that is
Excuse me,
also
brother.
different. Yeah,
What can be what is the other name for domain controller? What can you say? Like, is it organizer unit? No,
no, no, no, no,
no.
no.
So so one Active Directory can have a multiple domain controller.
Yeah,
What does that mean? I'm really confused.
that
Like,
means let me explain.
domain. What are the domain controllers? Like something like that.
Yeah. So here, let's say uh, I have a computer, and here I just deploy a domain controller. That domain controller, I define their name as let's say mylab.com. And also I have let's say I have connected to which one. And let's suppose I have another server here. This server is also connected with the same network. This is the switch, by the way. This is called switch. So same switch I am using, or same network I am using here. This is called switch. So switch. And I'm using same subnet, same IP addresses, same class of IP address for all of, for both server. And here, let's say I'm trying to, create or, deploy a new domain controller. And here I'm also trying to, keep the same name, mylab.com. So at this moment, our domain controller, it it won't allow to keep the same name for other domain, for other computer. So because this is already existed, this is already registered to this local area network. So if someone they are trying to keep the same name into that local domain, sorry, local area of that network, it won't allow to keep the same name for both computer with the same, while installing Active Directory, it won't allow to keep the same name for both server. So this is the
So
thing.
okay,
This is
so
the
brother.
thing. Yeah. Let me complete this one. So this is the thing actually happen into our local area, our local computer, sorry, local network environment. If you are looking for, a global environment, so here, this is the same here. Let's say, let's suppose google.com. So google.com is already registered. If someone, they are trying to register using same name, google.com, the database of, commercial um, domain registration database, they are not going to allow them to keep the same name. So the same thing is also available into our, local area network. And this thing actually controlled by domain naming master. Yeah, now it's your turn. Please go on.
So that means, brother, in a single network, if we have like five servers with five different domain names, so that five domains on the same network can be controlled by a single Active Directory?
No,
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 no, right?
no,
That's why I was confused.
no. So,
So for each
so
server, we need different Active
yeah,
Directory.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
each
Okay,
server, we'll have, different.
different.
Yeah. But if because as we know, in every network system, they are, for feasibility, for compatibility, they suggest, Microsoft suggests at least we have two domain controller. So these two domain controller be a part of the same name as a member of domain controller or as a co uh, co-member of that same name. So here we'll have option to add additional domain controller with the same name, which means the same NTDS database replicated to each individual domain controller, and they have same database, same users, same other information too, but they are synchronizing with each other. That means in this scenario, we'll have option to add same name over not only two, we can add it up to penalties of server. There are no problem, but it should be a member. It should be a coordinator of a co-server of the main domain controller. In this case, we'll have option to add or use the same name for all of the domain controllers. So actually, this naming convention are controlled through the domain naming master. Let me show you this one, domain naming master. Here, if you are looking into the domain controller, you are under Active Directory site and services. Here you can see NTDS settings. Here you can see global catalog. This is the option, global catalog.
Yes.
So if you are, uncheck or, clear the selection, it will show that if you are doing like this, this will be critical to your domain controller. So yeah, no other global catalog can be dedicated to this forest. So if no global catalog exists in this forest, user will not be able to log on. See, I sure is asking for also, I sure, for the confirmation. So if you will do this one, yes, then it's okay. But it's not supposed to, allow to remove this one. And this is by default, automatically checked while we are configuring domain control. So this is the main one, the global catalog services. Okay, now let's get back to the here domain forest. You can see here. This is also called site. So you can see here default site. So default site here. Site here. So here we'll have default site. And we can also find here caching for global universal group membership. So if you are doing trusting with some other domain controller at that moment, this will gonna to help us. But it's only for trusted environment, not for local environment or some somehow we are using the same environment. It's not required to check this one for caching.
So, but just one question. Sorry.
Yes.
So in tech skills, we have two servers, right? Like I have seen, like two servers, and there are two server installs on a PC, and they both have the Active Directory. So they are on the same network. So how they are working together? If they are like, if they in tech skills, like is the are they working together or is that different?
Are they
What?
working together too? Actually, I don't have any idea about it, but let me explain with you.
Yeah,
Here, let's suppose it's
yeah,
a tech skill and they have,
yeah.
both server into it. So they may also, install different domain into it. And other options, they may also use the same name for both server
Okay,
because it's if any one of the server gonna failure at that moment, other server is responsible for authentication and other purpose to
okay. Now I
authentication
got
kind
it.
of this thing.
Okay,
So this scenario is known as additional domain controller.
additional domain
Yeah,
controller. Yeah, yeah,
additional domain controller. Okay, So main domain controller, additional domain controller, because we'll have, option for primary domain, secondary domain, child domain. So,
Okay.
we'll have, varieties of infrastructure. So it depends what kind of company and what kind of services actually they are looking for. So we are just planning as per our client requirement.
Okay. So they can be both ways. Either they are using different domain or either they are using additional domain. That both
Yeah,
can be the case, right?
yeah, both can
Okay.
be the case.
Okay, brother.
Now here schema master. So it's a skeleton. Let me go through this one. RID. RID means it's a relational identity or relational ID master. So relational ID master, so it's a as relational database management system. There is a one field which is known as a primary key. So whatever existed into primary key, it won't be duplicate or it's not be modified. So this is the same thing here while we are dealing with Active Directory. So if we are dealing with, working with a user account here, let me show you first one. That MS. Yeah. So here you can see under user, if you are looking into a user property, let me go through their properties cost. So yeah, here under organization, expand this one from advanced. So you just need to go through the view and then after enable this one advanced feature. After enabling this advanced feature, let's have a look into properties of a user. Yeah, now here we'll have lots of options, right? So under this one, we'll have object. So here we can also enable disable this option, which is automatically protect this user or any object from this domain controller. Accidentally, no one gonna to delete that specific object. Also, let me go through the account. Yeah, attribute. So here you can see here under SAM ID, it's a security identity. You can see here at the end of that, um, you know, all other stuff. At the end of this one, we'll have RID. This is called RID 1112. So if someone delete this account, ACC underscore user one, if someone delete that account and very smartly they create the same account, they can. But the ID, the identity, RID master, they are not supposed to allow them to keep the same ID number for that user. Because this is why, because of this have primary key into that field, and that primary key didn't them allow to add or uh, keep the same identity or RID number for that specific account or a specific object of domain controller. So this is how actually RID master will gonna to protect or gonna to um, protect from duplication or control access or ACL for any hardware or software resources, shared resources through a domain controller. So this is the major one, the ID number of that user. So if you are looking, if you are creating a new user, let me show you. So here I'm just creating a new test user. So let's say I'm using ABC user. Yeah. Now, if I am trying to, keep basic password, let's go through this one. Yeah, here it's asking for password. Let's suppose I am using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the password. Now let me create. See, it won't allow to create this one because it's showing that window cannot set the password for ABC user because the password doesn't meet the password policy requirement. See, check the
Domain, I think default policy.
yeah, this is the default policy. This is the default policy. This default policy automatically applied to all of the users, whatever existed or whatever we are going to create. So it won't allow to keep EGL password or text password or something. So let me um, yeah. Now it will allow to keep that password. So I just created ABC. Let me check their property, their ID number, and the attribute. Yeah, here you can see this user having this one, this security ID 1123, right? Let's suppose I just let me delete that one, delete. So remember their ID number. Just remember this ID number. Under attribute editor. Yeah, here. Just remember this one. 1123. 1123. Now going to delete this one. Delete. Yes. After that, I'm going to create with the same name, ABC. ABC. Same name, same password. But here, see,
Yes, one one two
before,
four.
yeah, before it was 1123. So 1123 was, for the previous ABC user. So if someone, doing this kind of problem or this kind of issue, which means if anything related or, shared for the 1123 user, which means 1124 user, they don't have, access permission, uh, they don't have to use their same previous, shared resources to this ABC user because we know only ABC, but here under while we are looking into entire, database management system, they are keeping this user into another identity with another identity number, which means this they are not they are not supposed to be use the just username, the text value. No, they are not going through this one. They are actually going through their structure of the database. So whatever user identity number existed, they are only um, performing through that ID number, not through this, their name or something, whatever we assign to the specific, user identity. As we user or admin will recognize this one only, but the system actually, but system they are not supposed to recognize through this username. This is only for the human. So this is how actually RID infrastructure work for any domain infrastructure, So this is the relational identity manager master code actually. So all of the relational kind of stuff are dealing with this relational ID master. If you are looking for infrastructure master or PDC master, so infrastructure master, it's also recognizing and controlling whole entire infrastructure of a domain structure. So such as domain GUID number, number of domain, number of subdomain or child domain or subordinate domain, whatever existed into their domain database structure, it will gonna maintain through this infrastructure master. The PDC emulator master, which is also deal with the time server of a domain controller, and also it's acting to control, group policy for a uh, domain infrastructure. So PDC emulator is also responsible for group policy, um, and as well as it's also in mm, are responsible for Active Directory time server too. So these are the major things, these are the major roles which will known as a FISMA, FSM. You can also find this role from here under if you are right clicking on your domain name. So here you will have here option change domain controller. If you are looking into this one, there is also same. So let me get back to this one. Here you can see domain function level, forest function level. Okay. Next, here operation master. You can see operation master. So here you can see RID, PDC, and infrastructure. Right now, I have only one server. That's why all of the roles, all of the master roles are assigned into this server. But I have also option to change this server. But before changing this one, we should have to have another domain controller into same network environment. Then afterward, you will have option to change this one. But here you can find your operation master. So it's a domain function level. So just right click into domain name. From here, you just need to right click and then after you will have option for operation master. After selecting this operation master role, you can find RID master, operation master, you can see here PDC infrastructure. If you are looking for it's a domain part, right? If you are looking for forest function level, so forest function level, here domain naming master and schema master. So schema master is not generally visible to administrator. So we need to register DLL. We need to register first of all DLL registration, and then after only we're gonna to access this one. But while we are talking about this one, I can show this one here. Let's get back to the directly site and services first. Directly site and services. Just right click the top of it. Right? Yeah, not this one. We trust. Yeah, domain and trust. Site services. Here, just right click, then after that, operation master. Just right click, then after you can only see this one, domain naming master. If still we are not able to access the schema master. So for schema master, we need to modify, DLL. We need to register DLL, and then after one, we're gonna to get that one. But for now, it's okay. If someone who are actually interested to look into forest function level, let's find out how to register schema.dll. Find that one. If you guys are not able to, access that one, let me know. I'll show you, or I'll guide you how to actually get that one. But for now, I'm not going to show this one, schema master. So let's try to find out yourself. If you guys not able to, find this one, let me know. I'll guide you how to do this one. So it's a homework for you guys. Now, here you can see what is the domain naming master, what are the schema master, RID master, infrastructure master, PD simulator. I hope you guys already have this one, this PowerPoint slide. Just look into your portal, you can find it. Now here, group policy. So as you know, group policy is a part of, controlling things. This is associated with, Active Directory container, site, domain, organizational unit, which will access through, MMC, that means policy options, security options, software installation, and more of their Active Directory. Also, apply GPU into the same logical order, local policy, site policy, dome policy, and body policy. So next one, let's have a look into example of GPU. So GPU, group policy object, will be used to determine the home page that a user sees when they are launching their internet browser after logging into a domain environment. Also, administrators can use GPU to define which network connected printer appear on the list of available printers for a specific user or a specific organizational unit. Also, admin can also, pick number of security protocols and practices such as restricting internet connection options, program, or even screen timeout. And others are also, so you guys also have group policy class into tech skill. Then after you will have, all of the ideas about group policy. But basically, while we are dealing for, while we are facing, interview, they will just gonna to ask you, okay, what are the benefit, or do you know about the group policy? What are the Active Directory? Have you done user creation or password reset, or some of properties of an user account, which will get into this one, Active Directory users and computer. Yeah, from here you can see, just right click into domain users of group. Then after you will have lots of options here. So just right click, and then after you will have copy, add to a group, name mapping, disable account, reset password, move this user to any other location or any other organizational unit, open home pages, send mail, and other stuff to him. So this is how actually we will want to modify or define, like disable account if any user or any, yeah, if any user account are disabled. Here you can very easily you can identify through this one. There is a one down arrow automatically appear into disabled user account. So here we will have option to enable. Now reset password. So here if you are looking to reset, or if a user inform you that they forgot their password, or they are not able to recognize their actual password, you will have option to directly reset their password. But also we admin, we don't have option to access or use their previous password here. So if you know their previous password, you won't be able to give that password. You will also have unique password you have to assign there. And then after, don't forget to keep this one. User must change password at next level, because we are not responsible for any user password. Otherwise, user having issue, and they may gonna to complain, or they may gonna to um, penalty of things they gonna to perform against you. So don't remove this one, because we just a password, we just set a password, and then after we provided them to this password, the one which we actually we just created or generated for that user. Then after, whenever that user get this password, they just try to log on. After logging, their system automatically occurred them or pop up them that they should change their password. After changing or keeping their password, they will wanna access their system. So after that, we are not responsible for their password. And also, if some of user they complain you to their account is locked, so we'll have option here to unlock their account. So we just need to uncheck that. That's all. Or even this option from here under properties, you can see under account here, unlock account. So if some user having lock out their account by their mistake, here we'll have option to unlock this. So we just unlock, just uncheck this one, apply and okay. That's all.
So, brother, from where we can create the group policy? It's from the group. Right click on the group, right?
No, 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 no.
No.
Here, don't think like this. Actually, group policy, which doesn't mean to be part of group. It's a part of
Yeah.
object.
Organization unit, you mean?
No, no, no. It's a part of collection of object.
Okay.
This is not a kind of group. Group policy means it's not for a single group. It's a
Yeah.
collection of varieties of object, which means we'll have users, computer, other organizational unit also inside that group. Okay,
Okay.
so
So we can
group,
create one group policy and apply to all the groups, right? Like that. You going to say?
no,
It's
no, no, no,
collect all.
not all the groups. It doesn't mean group. Don't think it's a group. It's a collection of object.
Okay.
Did you get my point?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not representing as a single group, is representing as a collection of objects inside an organizational unit. That could be users, group, computer, another sub-organizational unit, whatever existed into that organizational unit. So all of objects, all of things, they are affected by the group policies, which means uh, the policy actually represented as a collection of object. It's not a single identical part of group. So here, this group is different than group policy. Group policy means whatever will have inside this organizational unit, the whole things are affected or impacted by that specific policy. That's why we call them group policy. Group policy means collection of object policy. Not, they are not dealing with a specific individual group. Is it clear?
Yeah, but I guess when we click on the account, right click. Just can you just do that for me?
Yeah,
Just
right.
right click, and in the group account group as well. Somewhere I see when the last time I was
Not
practicing
not
somewhere.
here, not here. Actually, it's a part of group policy
Oh
editor.
yes, yes, yes,
So
yes,
what we need to do, we just go through the GPO group policy gpmc.msc.
yes.
Okay. After going through this one, here we'll have
Yeah.
option. We'll have option.
Yes.
Just right click, and
Yes.
then after here we'll have
Yeah. Yeah.
two
Yeah.
options, right? One,
Yes.
create a GPO in this domain and link it here, which means
Yeah.
at the same moment we'll have option to create and modify that one. And the
Yes.
other one is here, it's a link an existing GPO, which means we'll have already previous some of GPO that
Yes.
actually we are looking for, assigned to this particular area of domain infrastructure. At that moment, we need to assign this one, link existing. So whatever group
Yes.
policy we had in our domain environment, all of group policy are stored into this one group policy object. So from here, we'll get all of the group policy, whatever existed into that domain, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you are, just deleting from this one, from here, if you are deleting from here, which is not meaning to delete from their repository.
Okay.
Did you get my point?
Yes.
Yeah. So this way, actually, let's suppose I'm deleting this one, disable USB, right?
USB. Yes.
Yeah. So let's suppose I'm deleting this one. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't see that one here, right?
Yes.
But if I am looking into my group policy object, I have this one here. See?
Yes.
So here you can also very easily you can identify this one. So here there is a small, a small symbol, a small, arrow sign up there, right? Which means
Yes.
uh, it's a shortcut,
Good.
just a shortcut.
Yes.
This is just a shortcut,
Short
which means
shortcut.
their main major part is also, stored into somewhere else. So that's why we'll have option to, link existing GPU. So we just, if you are linking and unlinking, here we'll have option to link or, unlink, enforce, by
Yes.
forcefully, if you are trying to, um, you know, by forcefully applying some policy to the organizational unit or whole entire, domain infrastructure, we can use the forcefully options also. And here you can also see, inheritance here. So you can see on the first, there is a, there is a default domain policy, right?
Yes.
On the second position, there are, some others. That one is customized by ourselves or customized by some administrative member,
Yes.
So this is how actually will gonna affect that policy. If you are looking into this one, see, there is no
Yes.
policy yet, right? But
Yes.
even we are looking for the inheritance, we'll get this one. See, on the top
Yes.
there is a default, second, third, and fourth. So this one, see.
Yes.
And so this way, we'll also have option to, make it their precedence in order, like ascending or descending order.
Yes.
So here, you just need to click here.
अब दाइ कोही न, हामी दुईजना बाहेक त कोही नरहेछ अहिले।
हो र
अँ,
सबै
के भन्छ
पढेर
त्यो भनेपछि त्यो हामीले एकाउन्टमा बनाएर त्यहीँ एड गरिदिँदा भएपछि हामीले बनाएको पनि एड हुने भयो।
अँ
लास्ट टाइम मैले त्यस्तै गरेको थिएँ त, एकाउन्टमा गएर
गर्ने नै त्यही हो,
अँ
गर्ने नै त्यही हो।
अँ
तपाईँले यहाँ राइट क्लिक गरेर बनाए पनि भयो होइन।
अँ
सो यहाँ राइट क्लिक गर्नुहुन्छ, यहाँ न्यू ग्रुप पोलिसी तपाईँले बनाउन सक्नुभयो।
अनि त्यहीँ गएर एड जसलाई गर्ने त्यो ग्रुपको
अँ
नाम दिएपछि एड आफै भइहाल्छ होइन।
अनि यो पोलिसीलाई म कहाँ राख्न खोजिरहेको छु त्यही राइट क्लिक गर्ने,
अँ
अनि लिङ्क
लिङ्क
एक्जिस्टिङ गर्ने,
अँ
अनि चेक गर्ने कुन चाहिन्छ,
हस्
त्यही गर्ने, ओके गर्ने सक्यो
हस् क्लियर भयो त, एक्टिभ डाइरेक्टरी चाहिँ क्लियर भयो।
है।
अब चेस
सो यति नै हो होइन। अब
हस्
अरू साथीहरू सबै चाहिँ
हस्
मिलिसके,
हस्
फेरि भेटौँला।
धेरै धेरै